Our homestead routine changes completely with the seasons, and late spring is easily our busiest. School is officially out, the weather is beautiful, and our days are almost 100% centered around the garden. In this video, we're sharing what a realistic daily routine looks like for our large family right now, how we manage the workload, and how we're making the most of this planting season. One of my very favorite morning routines is getting outside first thing in the morning as soon as possible. It just makes such a big difference in how my day goes and how I'm feeling throughout the day. So what that means for me this morning is I just took a quick run on the property. Cam and I alternate mornings doing this so that one of us can stay back with the toddlers in case they wake up. And then once I'm back, it's time to start animal chores. It's actually a pretty low-key time of year for our livestock and poultry since we don't have our pigs yet and we won't raise meat birds until the fall.
So I moved the cows into their new paddock late last night, and now I'm moving their water over here this morning. The cows are really close to the house right now, and we like that for two reasons. We get to enjoy breakfast while watching them out the back window, and it's really easy to fill their water because we can just use a hose spigot from the house. Fly season is here now for the cows, and so what I usually do is switch out their regular salt block for one with garlic in it. That helps control the fly population and keep it way down.
Usually watering and feeding the chickens is our kid's responsibility. Cruz is on it this week, but he just got his wisdom teeth out yesterday, so we're helping him out and doing the chores this morning. I had a craving last night for some sourdough English muffins, so I mixed up the dough and I'm gonna get it in the stand mixer. This is just the flour. We have the sourdough starter and then some water, and today I'm adding baking soda, honey, and salt. This recipe is on our website. It is one of my favorite things. These English muffins, they are supposed to be a little bit sticky, but I did the flour differently this time around. Usually I do all whole wheat. This time I did 50% bread flour and 50% whole wheat, so they're a little bit stickier than usual. So I did have to add like a lot of flour on the top and bottom to get them to like do what they're supposed to do and roll out. So we're gonna let them sit for a minute, and I'm gonna start making our eggs to go with these.
These are some jalapenos that we fermented last year. I like my omelettes hot.
This seems like a lot of food, but this is actually a pretty realistic breakfast for us. We like to cook 2 big meals a day. We cook a breakfast and a dinner, and lunch is usually some kind of leftovers or sandwiches or canned soup or just something so simple. Breakfast we love, so that's why we spend a lot of time on it. In the interest of time, I am making just one giant omelet, and then we'll just cut it up for everybody. Usually if we're doing individual omelets, we do about 3 eggs per omelet. We're cooking these English muffins on our stovetop. In the past, we've done this on an electric griddle, but I've found over time that the electric griddle, they just don't puff up as much on it for some reason. and on the stovetop it works a lot better. So we've been doing it like this, and then they get a lot bigger like air holes in the middle, and they taste really good too. We mix up about 10 eggs with a 1/4 cup of milk and then put it in the pan. Then we added bacon, green onions and chives, cilantro, jalapenos, and then we topped everything off with cheese. We also did a little salt and pepper to taste, and I cover the omelet for a little bit so it cooks on the top. And now it's ready to try and fold it. We'll attempt a fold. It may not work out very well, but it's still gonna taste the same. And then we'll chop it up and give a little bit to everybody.
Becky and I spend a ton of time outside. We are working hard, sweating a lot, and we're losing a lot of electrolytes in the process. We've tried a handful of electrolyte drinks in the past, and by far our favorite is Element. After a long day outside, Becky noticed she started getting headaches real bad. Element can help prevent and eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. And now, after replacing our electrolytes after a long day, Becky feels so much better. We love that Element is not filled with any artificial colors, artificial ingredients, just none of the other junk that you find in so many other drinks out there today. It contains a science-backed ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Element is used by everyone from professional and Olympic athletes, exercise enthusiasts, and even everyday homesteaders like us. Right now, Element is offering our viewers a free 8-count sample pack of their most popular flavors with any order. Get yours at drinkelement.com/seasonal homestead. This deal is only available through our link. Go to drinklmnt.com/seasonal homestead.
We're transplanting all of our sweet corn today. We started all these in soil blocks, and we have about 700 soil blocks to plant. Over the weekend, we got the area where we are planting this corn all prepped and ready for planting. So to do that, we had to take off the silage tarps. Then we went ahead and put compost on every single row. Then I put some organic fertilizer on each of the rows. Cam mixed that all in with our power harrow. And finally, the last step was to put on some holy paper. So we decided to use the 2x18 spacing for the paper. And this paper, it needs to get wet and shrink before we can actually plant in it. So the day that we got to rolling out the paper, a huge downpour started and we were running out of time in the day, so we just needed to get it done. So we actually laid out all of the paper while it was pouring rain. Cam, instead of using an umbrella, he just made himself a little covering out of one of the paper boxes and laid out all of that paper while it was pouring, and Noelle was helping at the same time. We're pretty short on our stakes right now, so we ended up putting down hay in the walking paths to keep the paper down for right now. And we put a few stakes down, but it kind of needs a little bit more. So now that the paper has shrunk down, this area is ready for planting. Noelle was already out here this morning getting a head start on it before we got out here, and we are going to go ahead and take out all the soil blocks and finish this up. This is not the ideal time to transplant corn because it is the morning, but we're doing it anyway because we just got to get it done. We don't always have perfect timing on things. We just do the best that we can. So with this corn, the whole reason I planted them in soil blocks is because they don't really love to be transplanted. So the soil block helps because it makes it so it has less transplant shock. The only problem is we should have planted these maybe 2 or 3 days ago because they just grow so fast. They were probably maybe an inch a couple days ago, and now they're like 6 inches tall, which is crazy how fast they grow. So it's really important when we transplant corn to have the area prepped and ready to go. This year we didn't have it quite ready at the moment that we needed to plant, so it got extended out a little bit, but I think these are still going to be just fine. Actually, last year our corn was even taller than this, so I'm almost positive these are going to survive. One of the other nice parts about transplanting corn is that you're able to plant the corn just a little bit deeper than they are when they sprout. That's really good because sometimes when the corn is planted at soil level, it will tip over. A lot of people actually hill their corn so it doesn't tip over. Especially where we are, we get a lot of storms and stuff, so it is somewhat likely for that to happen. We've had it happen before. Doesn't mean the whole crop dies, it just kind of falls to the side. So it's not a foolproof method. It could still happen, but it is helpful. So I'm burying the stem about 1/2 inch deep when I plant these. We finished planting 4 out of the 8 garden beds where we're planting corn. I miscalculated how many corn seedlings we needed. Come to find out, these garden beds, I think they're only 40 or 45 feet long, and I was calculating the corn seedlings that we needed based on a 50-foot long space. So we use 7 soil block trays, which is about 280 soil blocks, and so to do the rest, we need to double that. So we're looking at 560 corn seedlings total, which is a lot less than the 700 I'd planned for. But that actually works out okay because it's good to have too many seedlings than not enough. So now it is almost lunchtime, so we're gonna go inside, take a little rest and break, and then eat lunch, and we'll come back out. I said before that we like to keep our lunches simple, and that is what we're doing today. All we're having is a big salad, and we have some bacon that we have left over from breakfast that we're gonna put on the top. Each of us, we like our own toppings, so everybody kind of does their own. And then we also have some homemade balsamic vinaigrette that we made the other day that we'll put on the top. I just ran out to the garden and grabbed some celery, chopped it up. I'm gonna put that on mine, and then some slivered almonds. Put those on there. Dried cranberries, bacon from breakfast. And then also the nice part about doing a big breakfast is we have a lot of leftover chopped veggies from the breakfast too. So I'm gonna put on some of the green onions that we chopped from breakfast as well.
So I'm gonna keep mine simple, and in order of importance, I'm putting some bacon on first, and then dried cranberries, some of the almonds, crushed black pepper. I probably have pepper on everything I eat except dessert. So I really like cracked pepper. And that's it for me. I forgot to say we're gonna top these off with some Parmesan cheese. When we do salads for lunch, we don't have very many picky eaters at our house, and so we are all eating the same thing. Even our 3-year-old, we dish out a salad for him and he will eat the whole thing. So have some good eaters at our house.
I'm the kind of person who really likes to stay busy. It makes me feel so good to get a lot done every day. But believe it or not, we actually do rest every once in a while. And after lunch is definitely one of those times when we take some time and just hang out with the kids before we get back to work. We finished up lunch. Now we're cleaning up. We usually kind of like to do like a little cleanup before each time we go outside. And this time of year is very different than other times of year. Usually in the mornings, we're kind of working on homeschooling with the kids and things like that. This time of year, all of our kids are done with school. So they all did chores this morning, and now they're all at friends' houses. And it's just me, Cam, and the babies right now. So we're gonna put them down for a second nap, and then we're gonna go back outside and do some more work in the garden.
If you were watching closely earlier in the video, when Becky came out this morning to let the chickens out, this door came right off. So it's not supposed to do that. When the kids moved this over, I think at some point the door fell off. This is the first coop that we built when we moved to this property. So it's aging and it's in need of a little bit of repair. So I'm gonna put the hinges back on, get it in working order. And there's a few other fixes I need to do, but I'll do those later. So this plywood is just kind of weathering a little bit. And so I'm just moving the hinges down or up from where they were before because the wood's kind of rotting out. So I've still got another year or two left out of this coop. I'm not worried about it. The other nice thing is I love these chickens. Things break down and are in a little disarray here. These chickens have never complained once. I love that about them. Let's say it works pretty good for now. Chickens are happy, raccoons are sad. That's just how I like it. That's a wrap for this. I'm gonna get back in and I think I'm cooking dinner tonight. So that's where I need to be. I forgot there was still one more thing I needed to do before I go in and make dinner. So Becky reminded me we need to hill the potatoes. So I'm gonna hurry and do that right now. Then we'll go in and do dinner.
We decided to divide and conquer. So Cam fixed the door over on the chicken tractor and he went over and did the hilling up on the potatoes. And while he was doing that, I have been working on planting more of this corn. So I have about a row and a half of this left and I'm gonna see if we can get it done today. Cam is awesome at grilling and smoking food. He's great at making pizzas. And another one of his specialties is anything related to Asian food. So he's making Korean tonight and I'm excited that he is doing that and that I can finish this up.
For dinner tonight, we're gonna make Korean pancakes, or in Korea, they call this yachaejjeon. When we have a lot of vegetables that are ready to harvest in the garden, we tend to eat a lot more meals that are vegetable heavy and less on the meat. And this is a perfect example of one of those. Lots of vegetables, whatever we have ready in the garden, go into here, fry them up. The kids love it. We love this meal. It's super simple and it's really tasty. Most recipes, if you look online or if you have a Korean grandma, they call for zucchini and a variety of onions, mushrooms, grated sweet potatoes. We tend to vary ours up a little bit. And so tonight we're going to use celery, some of that left over from lunch, and cilantro and some onions that are also left over from earlier today. And then jalapenos, garlic scapes, and if we have a sweet potato left, we might grate up one or two of those. If you've ever been to an authentic Korean restaurant, you've likely had these as a side dish to the main course. We just eat this for dinner because it's that good. I guess he's gonna help eat dinner. I don't think he's gonna help make it. That's okay. I have about 4 cups of vegetables here between some frozen zucchini that we took out of the freezer. This is a great way to use that up. We did have a few sweet potatoes left, so I put that in here. Some diced celery, some onions from the garden, a little bit of cilantro, and I did put some jalapenos in there and then garlic scapes. So this goes into a big bowl now. And now I'm gonna add equal parts water and flour. So for this mix, since I have 4 cups here, I'm probably gonna do like 1.5 cups of water and 1.5 cups of flour and then salt to taste, and then we'll start cooking them. And I have to admit, I am not the best at cooking these. This is probably the hardest part, getting the temperature right, getting the oil in the pan, and just making sure you don't burn it and overcook it. You need about 1 tablespoon of oil every time you put a pancake in the pan, and then you have to watch it close so you don't burn the underside, but so it also cooks all the way through, because it's a really thick pancake for a pan. So we're gonna put the first one on, see how this goes. It usually takes me a few tries to get it right, and then by the 3rd, 4th pancake, I have the temperature dialed in pretty good. If you can kind of move them around and slide them around in the pan, then you're doing it right, because they need that oil underneath to kind of fry them. And then flip them another couple minutes and they should be done. We had some leftover dipping sauce from the last time we made these, but it's super easy to make. There's 4 ingredients. You put in some soy sauce, white distilled vinegar, gochugaru, the Korean pepper flakes, and then sesame seeds. I'll put the recipe in the description so you can see the exact measurements.
After a good day of working with the soil, there is nothing better than sitting down together to eat a meal that is filled with homegrown vegetables and because it's all fresh, it just tastes so good. So once dinner is cleared, we always head back outside. This time of year, the evenings are just too beautiful to spend indoors. So we use these last few hours of daylight to just unwind, play with the kids, and enjoy the property. The final homesteading task of the day is locking up the egg layers for the night. And even though this is an exhausting time of year, it's also one of our favorites because we realize after a long winter how precious these spring days of sun and nice weather are. So thanks so much for spending the day with us on the homestead, and we'll see you in the next video.